Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Yuri. Thank you for inviting me. I'm a bit emotional because I've seen so many nice presentations with beautiful designs and stuff, and especially the presentation about the Pilatus aircraft. I'm particularly touched because I live 10 minutes away from it, from the factory, and in the middle of the 90s when the PC-12 program was a little bit at risk. The owners at the time, which was Oerlikon Burle Holding, yeah, we convinced them, since you are the owners, you should buy an aircraft and fly it around so everyone will see it. And I happened to be the operator at the time, so I'm pretty much connected to the Pilatus story, and then with all the growth that happened afterward to the PC-12 program. Lots of friends that worked for this product, and also when they launched the PC-24, I think really an amazing product. So thank you for that. Also for the other presentations, yeah. So, okay, my presentation doesn't have very much to do with design as such, but I still would like to take the opportunity to introduce Qatar executive to the audience. Let me see if I catch the right. No. Here we go. Okay, Qatar Executive. We are a subsidiary of Qatar Airways. Qatar Airways obviously is a very famous name, a nice brand, a great airline. Qatar Executive was actually started its operation back in 2009. We started out with a Bombardier fleet, rather, with some Challengers and Globals. This was long before my arrival. I arrived at Qatar Executive 2 years ago, so I will give you a little bit more background of who we are today. Obviously, we would like to. Okay, this is wrong. Sorry. Okay, who we are. All right, Qatar Executive today, we are operating 22 aircraft. We are about 500 people, including pilots. We have our own maintenance operation. We have, out of those 22 aircraft, we have 13 aircraft which are business jets. Business jets of a nice size, 3 Challengers, 5 Globals, and 5 Gulfstream 650 ER. As a matter of fact, we are the largest 650 ER operator, commercial operator around the world. Let me go here first, yeah. So I will start with 2015, when Qatar Executive placed an order of 30 Gulfstreams. And then, as I said before, today we have 5 Gulfstreams in operations today. We have unveiled the Gulfstream 500 during the Farnborough Air Show, and we are going to take 8 more aircraft between now and the end of next year. So, what I said before, we have 13 business jets. We inherited 2 years ago 8 aircraft from the former Amiri fleet. We are flying around the ministries of Qatar. And also the supporting parties around the world for the royal family. It's a pretty challenging operation, I must say. We operate worldwide. We had, in the last 2 years, a 60% growth. It's actually a bit more. It's 76%, so this number is a bit conservative, especially considering the fact that last year, as you all know, this kind of blockade happened, yeah, so obviously it took a couple of destinations away that we can fly to. We cannot fly to the United Arab Emirates, we cannot fly to Saudi, Bahrain, or Egypt. Our business is basically 30% is coming out of Qatar. 70% is coming out of the rest of the world. So I've been focusing ever since on on places outside of Doha. Why? Because we have airplanes that have a phenomenal reach. I mean, we fly the fastest planes with lots of range. So this allows us to really serve the critical markets around the world. And this was actually also before the blockade. This obviously helped us then when the blockade came. So despite the blockade, we grew quite massively over the last year. We would like to think that we deliver an unmatched service. I've see one or two faces here of people that are using our services. I hope they will be able to tell you the same. We don't have a phenomenal marketing strategy or very fancy marketing strategy. We try to do every flight that we are ordered, we try to do it just as good as we can. Yeah. And for us, the journey doesn't only mean the flight from A to B, but the entire process actually, when someone calls us and has certain requests. Yeah. And as you know, in our industry, sometimes we got pretty fancy requests, and you know, the ability to answer those requests in a proper way and to arrange the flight properly is pretty crucial. Yeah. So I think we are enjoying quite a nice service level. I think it's easy. I would like to think that it's easy to cooperate with us, that we are really performing as required by our clients. We obviously have a very modern world-class fleet with a global reach. I mean, when I speak about critical markets, I'm speaking especially about Asia, about Russia, about Europe, North America, Africa, South America, so essentially about the whole world. And the 650ER is really an aircraft that allows us to connect these places in a very quick fashion and in a very swift way. I think one of our main advantages is, as well as we are growing and as we are flying around the world, we are doing our own maintenance. So this allows us to control our quality. So if I have, it's not like when you operate an Airbus or a Boeing, you have inter-airline agreements for spare parts all around the world. You got engineering at your destination and at your departure point. Sometimes we fly to places that are totally remote. So you fly a fantastic big asset, costs $70 million, and the client pays big bucks to fly this airplane. And guess what? If you are in Patagonia and you have a technical issue, well, you're stuck. Or if you are in Tahiti with a technical problem, you are stuck, as we know, yeah? It takes about 2 days to recover that flight. So I think the fact that we are doing our own maintenance, the fact that we can dispatch our engineers all around the world very swiftly, by the way, it's a big advantage as well compared to other operators. Obviously, the Qatar Airways airline network allows us to fly very quickly all over the places, yeah? So this is a big advantage, I believe, that helps us to give the best service and to recover nasty situations pretty quickly, yeah? Today, again, this is basically our fleet number today of business jets again. So as we are getting more Gulfstreams over the next few years, I mean, we're talking about 8 more Gulfstream until the end of next year, which makes the business jet fleet grow to 21. And until 2022, we are planning to get a total number of 22 aircraft, yeah? So our fleet will end up somewhere around 25, 30 aircraft, yeah? Business jets. I don't want to bore you with performance stuff. We know that the 650ER obviously is an aircraft that flies very fast, very far, very quiet, has an excellent cabin altitude, especially for long-range operations. I would think one of the best cabins to spend time in it. The Global 5000 as well. little bit less range. The Challenger starts to become a little bit of an older product, but what we did is basically we redid our first Challenger completely, and we converted our second Challenger that came out just now out of the 96 months inspection as a medevac operation. So we will start as well our medevac operation very shortly. Again, as I mentioned before, we have extremely good capabilities in maintenance. We are maintaining our own aircraft. We have, obviously, we are approved by EASA and other national aviation authorities. We also offer supply and support for third-party operators, whoever is in the region and has an issue. I would say, how are we differentiating ourselves from the other? Again, I think this circle of benefit is interesting to know. The fact that we belong to Qatar Airways, I mean, I've been operating planes now for 30 years, and I've rarely been in a operational environment like we are here. I mean, when you belong to such a big 5-star award-winning airline, whenever it comes to safety or how you pick your pilots, how you train your pilots, you know, how you choose your pilots, because at the end of the day, there are 2 people flying the passenger in the front, so there's a lot of things going on. Up here, you got to make sure that everything goes well and this is safe, and so I believe we have an unbelievable benefit here to take advantage from this big group. Qatar Airways is like a big fridge for us. Yes, we just need to know where the staff is. We get advantage, especially safety and security, for instance. Or nowadays, a big issue is, for instance, sanctions list. Yeah. I mean, our US friends are putting everybody on a sanctions list, you know. And we keep flying Russians and South Americans and everyone's, you know. So how do you make sure that that this passenger that you are flying is not putting you in trouble? Because it's very simple. All the insurance coverage is going through London and New York. So if you have a person that is flying on a sanctions list, okay, depends a little bit which sanction and this and that and destination. Well, guess what? You don't get insurance coverage. So if anything happens, that's a pretty nice surprise. And when I say that, you know, this benefit of belonging to a group who has a massive safety and security department, because they have to protect data, they have to obviously, they have much larger responsibility because they are transporting much larger number of people all around the world. I would say that's for us to have, you know, this service just a phone call away is very interesting. Our charter sales team, if they get this list, you know, they can just make a phone call and this list is updated day by day. If we are going, for instance, to remote areas, airports that we've never been, you know, so we need to train our pilots or we need to make an operational assessment. We are taking lots of advantages from our airline. Yeah, if I have to dispatch crews around the world, because you imagine I'm dispatching these planes all around the world, and you know, after 12, 13 hours of duty is over. I need to make a crew change. So I mean, you guys know when you have to reposition a crew from A to B on a long-range flight, a crew change may cost you $15,000, because if it's more than 6-7 hours, you have to put them in business class. So that's a big advantage that we have at Qatar Executive. You know, they just put in Doha 150 plus destinations around the world, and they just go. And you know, we are not charged much for that. Yeah. So these are some of the advantages that I wanted to highlight. Yeah. Obviously, I urge my people all the time to really think about the passenger journey. What does the passenger want to know? Just a little bit like, excuse me, what was your name? Ben, sorry, Ben. Like Ben is doing it on a complete different scale. But I think in our business, it's extremely important to understand what does the customer want. Don't bother him with, you know, with processes, with contracts and stuff. Just be reliable. I think that's the best marketing. At least that's how I made my experience. Whenever I perform my flight nicely and good, usually the customer comes back. And it's many people try to categorize business aviation somehow, to make processes, to make like I don't know, whatever marketing decisions. You know, I think I'm coming from a very traditional operational background. I'm just saying, okay, whatever is on the table today, let's just do it properly, step by step. And I've built operations worldwide many times in my life, again and again, and I can say I never had such a strong backing like I have today, thanks to the Qatar Airways Group. So that's a big advantage, and I think that should make our passengers feel very, very comfortable. The future, obviously, with all these numbers of airplanes, I don't think we have even that much parking in Doha, yeah? But that's why, you know, we have a pretty clear strategy. We are penetrating already today all these critical markets, and we are just about to open an office in Shanghai, which will be followed by Moscow, and then London next year, and then Los Angeles, South Africa as well. When I say open an office, it's very simple. There will be one person or two person there who takes care about the local clientele, and there will be also airplanes there in that area. Yeah, so we will be able to serve that market properly without charging too many positioning flights whatsoever. So this obviously comprises some logistical steps, maintenance support, and so on. So we are already contracting many maintenance companies around the world who can help us. We have our own AOG team, which we dispatch around the world, unfortunately regularly, because that's definitely an issue in our business, the reliability of the aircraft. And but basically that's the future of Qatar Executive. Already today we are connecting the world quite nicely. If I look at the map where our aircraft are sitting exactly today as I speak now, it's basically all over the world. So, okay. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any question to Ettore regarding the Qatar Executive or something else? Any insights you would like to know from the first hand and something like that about design and not only? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, not much design. Yeah.
Yeah. Question? Yeah. Just 1 sec. Yeah, I'm gonna bring you the microphone. Oops. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay.
Hello. I was interested in your refitting one of the 605s into Medivac. Who did the work for you? Can you say?
Yes, we did all the work. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. We bought a stretcher, and we did the big check in house, and also the only thing we did not was the exterior paint. Yeah, but because we don't have a paint shop. But other than that.
And when will that go into service?
Well, it's actually gonna become ready for service tomorrow as we speak. It's a project in cooperation with the Hamad Hospital in Doha. So the medical teams we have already an A320 which we operate on in Medevac configuration. So they will have to go through some training, like hanging all the medical staff and go through the procedures, and we really hope to be operational by latest mid of this month.
Thank you very much for that, Ettore. And we have, if there are any more questions, yeah, just 1 sec.
Question to ask you, Ettore. You mentioned the coverage, the global coverage of the aircraft. That means as well that you have a very international set of crew, I would say. Which nationalities are the crew?
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, in Qatar Airways as a group, they say we have about 150 different nationalities. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but our crews are basically mainly from. We have English people, we have US people, we have Italians, we have Australians, we have Russians. So I would say we have quite a South Africans, yeah. So we are quite a nice mix, which I believe is very important for an operation like we are. So even more, if you think Qatar Airways in the past 20 years, they went from 0 to over 200 aircraft with totally multi-ethnical crew and people, not easy to control, you know, but very interesting in terms of inputs and mentality. It's really enriching, I must say.
Okay, many thanks once again for the presentation and the
We
questions.
have also Greeks, by the way.
Well, yeah. Okay, thank you, Ettore, once again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.